صداقت بنهید، آمده موسم بخشش عید قربان سعید. دل از اندوه و غم و غصه بسازید رها، با خط خوش بنگارید در این برگ جدید، با خط خوش بنگارید در این برگ جدید.
دوستان کینه و بغضین همه واقعا بس است، روز قربانی و نهر و روز ذبح هوس است. شاد و خرم همه از بند بدی ها آزاد. شاد و خرم همه از بند بدی ها آزاد.
صداقت بنهید آمده موسم بخشش عید قربان سعید دل از اندوه و غم و غصه بسازید رها با خط خوش بنگارید در این برگ جدید با خط خوش بنگارید در این برگ جدید
دوستان کینه و بغضین همه واقعا بس است روز قربانی و نهر و روز ذبح هوس است شاد و خرم همه از بند بدی ها آزاد
ابلیس لعین نیز به کنج قفس است آل ابلیس لعین نیز به کنج قفس است دست در دست نگردی و صداقت بنهید آمده موسم بخشش عید قربان سعید دل از اندوه و غم و غصه بسازید رها با خط خوش بنگارید در این برگ جدید
don't have $700, any amount towards that amount will be acceptable. All you have to do is tell Ajagay Zia, Haj Zia Amili, inshallah, so he can record it accordingly. And with that being said, it's easy to make the donations. With that being said, there's a lot of noises, my brothers and sisters. Can I have your attention, please? As Ajaga Mudaris mentioned, we're going to have our Eid picnic, inshallah, this coming Sunday in Rancho Madeira Park. That's the usual park that we go to, 556 Lake Park Avenue at Simi Valley, Wood Ranch. Ajaga Mudaris گفتن که به فارسی هم اعلان بکنیم پیکنیک یا میله ایدی ما با مناسبت عید قربان از طرف مسجد انشالله در پارک همیشگی ما در وودرنچ سیمی ولی خواهد بود روز یک شنبه فردا نه پس فردا راز ساعت 1 برای نماز ظهر و عصر انشالله دوستا اونجا باشن. میله هم به صورتی است که همه آشنایی دارن فقط به اندازه خود و فامیل خودتان غذا تهیه میکنین و میارین و همه با هم گرد هم میشینیم و انشالله از غذا استفاده خواهیم کرد. اگر هر فامیل بر مناسبت میخوان که پیکنیک یا میله خود داشته باشند دیگه لطفاً کدام پارک دیگه تشریف ببرن چون هدف ای پاتلک یا میله ما با هم بودن کمیونیتی و جامعه ما هست. With that being said, the topic of Ajaga's Mudarris tonight's speech will be the art of thinking clearly. That's something that we skipped last week, and Ajaga Mudarris will come back to that topic tonight, inshallah. میریم و از محضر وجود الاسلام و المسلمین آقای مدرس استفاده میکنیم. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد. اللهم خذ خودم هم نفهمیدم که چی گفتم. دیگران متوجه نشدن از چی گفتم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Haj Farzad said he didn't understood what he said. So that makes two of us. I did not hear what you said either. It was so many, unfortunately, conversations going on at the same time. But I would really appreciate if you give us a few minutes of your time. Inshallah, after the program, you can have a moment, inshallah, not moment. You can have more than an hour for socialization and inshallah catching up. Once again, Eid al-Adha Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His peace and blessing upon Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, his son Ismail, and all the prophets and messengers of God till the final prophet, the seal of the messengers, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وحبيبه حافظ سره ومبلغ رسالاته حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: ثم إن علينا بيانه كلا بل تحبون العاجلة وتذرون الآخرة وجوه يومئذ ناظرة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and souls with the remembrance of the Prophet and his family, with recitation of the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Throughout our lives, there are moments that when we look at our past, we think about the decisions that we made, and we ask this question, and that is that, was it possible for me to make a better decision? And that is one of the, I would say, reasons that keep us awake at night. When we remember what we did the day before or the week before, and sometimes these decisions haunt us for the rest of our lives. And the reason I mention this is when we talk about thinking clearly, is to focus on the importance of making a decision so we can reduce the chance of regret, and at the same time we can live a life of tranquility, the life of assurance, and a life that is ultimately we can reach to the peak of our potentials. We talked about some of the issues. The final one that we discussed last time, one of the obstacles in the way of thinking clearly from a religious perspective, a spiritual perspective. Anybody remember what was it? In order to think clearly, what is a clear desk? Tell me, what kind of a desk is a clear desk? That is not a mess. That's, organized, and at the same time, it's not messy. So there's not so many things on it at the same time. But if there is something, it has a place, dedicated place for it. So it means we have to get rid of things that are not necessary, number one. And we have to organize whatever is necessary. And that is the thinking clearly, is to understand there's some thoughts that they are irrelevant, they're pointless. We think about them, and that thinking is not going to be rewarding. It's not going to matter. And there are matters that we should think about, that because they're not in front of us, because they don't have that priority for us, we neglect and we push them aside. That's what happens, that if you have a very unorganized life, what happens? You probably miss a very important assignment as a student. You may miss the day of your test. I know some youth that actually this happened to them, that they mistaken the day of their final, and so they missed the final. And it spent, I think, at least a week begging the professor that if you give me another chance. I really forgot about it. I was not lazy. It was not that I was unprepared. I forgot about it. It was some mishap in my schedule. On the other hand, as soon as a notification comes on my phone and I start reading about it, that something happened, I don't know, whatever that news may be, is a notification of one of the distractions. It's either a celebrity gossip or it could be some random news alert. And I read about it right away. So I gave my attention to one and I'm distracted from another. So, inshallah khayr. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In order to think clearly, you need silence, by the way. So please let me think clearly and be able to give my lecture with your silence. Thank you. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we talked about arrogance, and I already covered arrogance. That's one of the obstacles in our way, and it stops us from thinking clearly. Is to think that I know everything, I don't need to pay attention. And for that reason, we will not be able to think straight because I am so overconfident or so much filled with pride that I actually make mistakes. Overconfidence can lead to mistakes as well. And I gave the examples, if you remember, even among the doctors and the scientists of the time, that they ignored a simple hand washing and sterilizing their hand, and that led to death of many in their time. And today is no exception. There's so many warnings around us that people don't take it seriously. And that's why we see even the most professional drivers, they get into an accident. Somebody who never got a ticket in their life, they end up, committing a major offense in the driving, is because sometimes overconfidence can become a problem. And that is what arrogance and pride is about. Tonight, what I want to talk about thinking clearly, is about this topic, and that is that when we look at our thinking, there are three categories of thinking that we should be aware of. Number one is short-term thinking versus long-term thinking. Meaning that sometimes all I care about is immediate result, instant gratification. So thinking in a short-term manner, it will lead to short-term goals. So I give an example. We have two people, very similar. Let's say they want to lose weight, right? Doctors told them that you are in a danger zone and you need to lose weight. One thinking is short-term thinking, right? I want to lose weight as soon as possible. So is there any magic pill out there? Is there any procedure that I can take? What is something that I can get as soon as possible? Those people who make those kind of decisions are the ones that their thinking category and process is short-term thinking. I want immediate result and I want quick result instantly, as soon as possible, no matter what's the cost. I was talking to one of the youth in our community, and he said that he's working in a hospital. And he said there are people who come to the hospital with infections. Why? Because they went to Mexico or some other place that, of course, is much cheaper, and they did cosmetic surgery, they did liposuction, they did whatever it is to look better in their mind. And now that they're coming back, they have infection because it was not done properly, or even if it was, there's some kind of complication after the surgery. The interesting part was that when they come, this youth was saying that once they come to the hospital, they're not surprised that they have the infection. They say the doctors told us this is most likely is going to happen. So they knew the risk, and they went ahead with it. They still proceed. They ignored all the warning. Why? Because they want the result, no matter what's the cost. On the other hand, we have the long-term thinking, the one who focuses on consequences. That yes, in short term, I may gain something, but at the same time, there is a price to pay. So we have to always, in our decisions, in our thinking, we have to consider this one category. Is it short-term versus long-term? Obviously, there are studies for this that shows it. And obviously, this is from the Islamic perspective also is being reinforced and confirmed. And that is which kind of goals and which kind of thinking is better? Tell me, which one? Long-term. When you look at the Quran, the verses I recited is from Surah Qiyamah. Allah said, we send down this Quran, this message, this guidance, and we elaborated, we explained the message of this book. But Allah said, not everybody will pay attention to it. Why? I said, why people don't pay attention to what Quran says, or what the Prophet says, or what even Allah wants to teach them? بَلْ تُحِبُّونَ الْعَاجِلَةِ. So the reason they don't like it is because they love ajila. Ajila come from ajala, which means something that is in haste, rush, quick. So they like this transitory life that we are in, this quick, available life that it is. That's why they ignore the Quran, because they love everything in a short term. That's the nature of the man. Obviously, Allah is criticizing this mentality. Said if you only focus on short term, you will not truly acquire success. Oh, this person looks good. We're going to look good in a wedding photo, and that's it. That's the short-term thinking. Right? This job, I make money right now. If I go to school, I have to go and give money to the school. Here, I go work at the pizza shop or at this, I don't know, Starbucks or some other company, and I make a minimum pay. Obviously, the math says right now you make money in short term is better than losing money. But the long term says, yes, you lose money, but if you do it right, of course, I'm not saying to waste your money on any school and any major, but there are moments that when you invest the money, you get the payback, right? You get the result of that. That's why long-term thinking matters. In order to think clearly, we have to be aware of the danger of haste, ajala, rush. Good decisions are usually not made in rush. It's actually recommended to contemplate, think about big decisions. This is a practical action plan I'm teaching you right now. Again, this is from the Islamic perspective, as well as if you can look it up yourself, see all the research support this as well. That when you are about to make a big decision, try to give it time. Don't make a big decision in 1 hour or 1 day. Try to make it in a weekend, make it in a month. I remember, I see this with the young people, and I was, in the same place as you were. Let's say is the time that you want to buy a car, and you really want to have a car. It's a big decision because of financial responsibility. It's not that cheap, especially right now, more than ever, right? The one with the short term said, I want to buy a car today. I don't care if I get a good rate or not. I want a car today. Most likely when you go to the dealer, you will be most likely tricked. Why? Because the salesman, they know that you really want this car. So whatever you offer, they're going to take it because they want the car today. Right? You can actually, I did not know this. I went car shopping and leasing car with experienced shoppers is here as well. I went with someone who did a lot of car shopping, thanks to him. And one thing that we want is that, okay, we have all the time in the world. Although I don't want it to waste my entire day in the dealer. But he said, no, just relax. If you say that you're in a rush, they know you want this car, they're going to just push. There's no wiggle room, there's no negotiation. And it's going to matter. So in any big decisions, take time. Of course, when I say take time, there are people who do take too much time as well until the opportunity is lost. Don't be one of those either, right? I know people that are in their 40s and still thinking about marriage. Brother or sister, please make a decision as soon as possible. The window is closing. There's not much time. Biological window is closing and so many other windows are closing. Make a decision. But on the other hand, if you're not in that position, take your time. Don't rush. The hadith said, Al-ajala min ash-shaytan. Whatever you try to rush, there's no khayr come from it. It's from one of the usually Ghadir, those who object to Ghadir, they don't have enough information about Ghadir. Reading 2-3 things who object to Ghadir does not make us aware about Ghadir. Right? We turn on the TV or somebody sent us a video or on YouTube or TikTok, I came across something. And somebody's saying something that we don't know about, and suddenly I start thinking about it. Yeah, maybe they're right. That thinking is not going to be clear thinking. Why? Because all I know about that subject is what I heard. I don't know anything else about it. So this ayah of the Quran says, that there is no respect for human beings' life, وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثَ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُم is a famous Islamophobe trope that they go with, right? Kill them wherever you find them. And they said, because of this ayah, Muslims are violent, Islam is a religion of violence, they hate us, and that's it. If I don't have enough information, the more I think about it, the more I figure out, oh, they're right. We are violent. Quran said that. Because I don't have enough information about it. My information is only from what I heard against my faith. So in order to think clearly, what should I do? The first thing is that let's hear the other side, what we say as Muslims. Of course, the one who's anti-Muslim, who's an Islamophobe, is going to say from their own perspective what I'm going to say from my perspective. So let's read on this. And then I need to figure out that ayah, the verse, the completion, is it accurate or not? And then I can do thinking. Okay, I have the two opinion, I have the, what is it called, in favor and against. And then I can actually think about this topic. So we need to inform ourselves. And the third and the final one, in order to think clearly, is fast thinking versus slow thinking. This is actually a book that the author of the book was a psychologist who won the Nobel of the year because of this research. Professor Kahneman was the one who did it. Fast thinking versus slow thinking. And then the way he defined it, if I want to summarize it, it's a book on this, fast thinking versus slow thinking. It talks about that there are decisions that we need to quickly make a decision about. You don't need a lot of time. You need to think fast. Right? Let's say you're driving, suddenly something jumps in front of your car. You need to think fast to press the brake, to push the brake. That's a quick decision. Fast thinking. Your child is going toward the oven, you have to think fast. You cannot say, okay, let me see what's going to happen. No, this is the moment of thinking fast. On the other hand, thinking slow means that there are moments that because the consequences are huge, you have to think and take your time. For example, your career. What are you going to do with your life? This is not something I can just put a couple of major in a bucket and say, I'm going to pull one and whatever happens, happens. I cannot choose one of those random selector apps and say, okay, I'm going to just hit the button. Whatever comes up, that's going to be my major. No. It's a big deal. So you have to think slow. You have to take your time. Because it's a matter of your life. Your youth is not going to be repeated. One time you're going to be young. Just one time. What are you going to do with that time? Am I going to waste it? Am I going to be the one who always just follow one friend, one trend to another? I'm going to do something about my life. Am I going to be a follower or I'm going to lead my own life? That is something worthy of our time to think slow. That brings me to the importance of slowness in life. What is the slow? When you say sometimes we need to slow down. Because we are living at an environment, at an age, an era that everything pushes us to think fast. We're all victim of it, right? We're so pushed that even I'm driving, and we know that driving, today we were talking about it, that when you are driving distracted by your phone, and I drive and I have my phone in my hand because somebody called me or there's a message or somebody wants to respond right away, when I pick up my phone, the danger of driving distracted with our phone or with our device is more than driving drunk. We think that if you're drunk is a danger to others. The one who's distracted with their device is even more dangerous to themselves and others. But why is that? Because sometimes we feel there's an urge. I have to check. What if this happens? What if somebody calls me? What if I have a message that I have to get back to them right away? So the culture is a culture of speeding up. Do it as soon as possible. Notifications, alerts, all of them wants our attention right away. This happened to me again. I'm not saying that I mastered it. This is a struggle. I'm trying to, for a moment, put my phone aside, focusing on the topic, and suddenly I hear the vibration. Who is it? What is it about? What if it's something important? So you need to, and I need to, understand that sometimes what we need is to slow down. So how can we do it? Number one, in the Islamic terminology, subhanAllah, I saw the traditions about it. Then I look it up and I said, this is actually scientifically also proven that is good. This is being advised by health experts as well as by the people who are successful of their field. And that is isolation. That sometimes we need isolation. We need to sit on our own without any distraction. No phone, no TV, no reading, just sitting and doing nothing. And then let our thinking works. For 25 minutes is a good start. Good luck, by the way, sitting on your own for 25 minutes without your phone. It's not easy. Good luck. My du'as are with you. Why is that? That was, by the way, our default. For years, there was no phone. You couldn't have a TV on your back everywhere. A lot of people would sit and it was nothing. But now it seems abnormal that we cannot even, most of us, including myself, hardly can handle it. But in order to slow down, we need it. Once in a while, no more reading, no more audiobook, no more, any form of input. Just myself and no distraction. And then let your mind unravel itself. You'll be amazed by the result, I promise you. So many confusions, so many foggy moments will disappear. Because sometimes we have so much information, but we think, and I cannot think, we black out, right? There's a blank canvas, nothing. Because we don't even give the chance to our mind to unravel itself. Okay, I thought this, I read about this is what I think, this is what I heard from Sheikh Mudaris, all these things. Now, there's a moment that I need to let them work together. It's like the ingredients, when there's some cooking material that you have to let them be, right? Especially for bread and dough and all that. Again, learning from the masters in my family. I don't do anything, I just eat it. But I learned that when they make the dough, what they do, they leave the dough for fermentation and the process. Sometimes you have to just leave it. Don't do anything else. You cannot just mix the ingredients and right away it happens. Same is with our mind. Sometimes we just get the material and we think, oh, where's the result? Give it time. Sit on your own for a few minutes and then figure it out. Slow the pace of your life. This is what is in the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. We see Imam Ali alayhi salam leaves in the middle of the night, goes to the garden, to his garden, walking in the garden in the middle of the night, looking at the stars. Same been said about Imam Hussein and his companion on the night of Ashura. There's a moment that they're together, Imam gives lecture and all that, and then at the end of the night, everybody goes on their own. Imam Hussein is actually sitting on his own, working on his sword and reciting poetry. There's a moment of loneliness and isolation. We need that moment. In order to have a healthy conversation with our family, we need a lone moment. Of course, not excessive. Because for some people, mashallah, they're alone all the time. And they have too much time on their own that they have no time for family or others. That's, of course, excessive. I'm saying in a balanced level, right? 25 minutes is a good starting point. That will help us to slow down, think slower. Next one, which is also very essential, which help us with thinking clearly. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he said that if you want to know somebody who is patient, right? We need patience in order to make good decisions, to think clearly. If we are in rush, most likely we will miss some pieces of information, something. So Prophet said, if you want to know in your thinking, in your decisions, you are patient or not, there are three identifiers for a patient person. Alamatu sabri thalathun, Prophet said. The one who's patient, the one who mastered this slow process. Who is patient, by the way? Patient is not the one who waits. That's muntazir. Muntazir, the one who waits for something external to happen. For some kind of resolution, for some kind of breakthrough to happen and outside. That is intizar. You're waiting. You're waiting for the bus to arrive, right? We're waiting for the Imam Mahdi to arrive. That's intizar. But sabr is that we wait and we give time for the growth to come from within. We wait until we see the result from within. That's what sabr is. Because sometimes we need to give ourselves time. You did your salat, you're waiting for some magic happen, suddenly you want a pair of wings to fly with your salat. Give it time. Continue with your prayers. You see what prayer does to your life. Give it time. You want to see what you, being, for example, respectful of your parents did to your life? You need to be sabr. You have to have sabr to see the result. You stayed away from haram. Why did nothing happen? Give it time. You see that potential come from within. That's sabr. Waiting for the passage of time until you see the growth from within. That's sabr. And Imam Ali divided it to three types, right? There's sabr when it comes to عند المصيبة, at the face of calamities. That's his one sabr. There is something that is throws at you, life throws things at you, right? You don't control it. That's musibah. You're dealing with an ignorant, with a fool. You're losing a loved one. This is not out of your control. That's musibah, calamity. The other one is as-sabru ala ta'ah. There's to be obedience. It requires patience and obedience of Allah, right? You have to wake up at the fajr. You have to stay away from the haram. It needs patience to obey Allah. To fast in Ramadan, to go to Hajj, needs patience. It doesn't happen quickly. You go to Arba'in, walk is not easy. It requires patience. Walk steady and slowly until you get there. And then the third type, Imam Ali said, is as-sabru ala al-ma'asiyah, is to be patient when you are facing temptation. Sins. Everybody does it. Why you care? Be patient. Don't lose control. And Imam Ali said, which one is the best one and is the most difficult one? The third one, ma'asiyah. When it comes to facing and be patient in the face of temptation. To lose, okay, I do it, so what? I do tawbah. I do repent later. So to think clearly, we need to be patient. Those who are in rush, they don't think clearly. Usually because we want the result quickly and right away, because we look at short term, we end up not thinking clearly. Our decisions and our eyes are mystified. We cannot see the truth for what it is. How many cases I can tell you about marriage that people rushed into marriage. And unfortunately, when they end up in separation, the last thing you need to tell them is, I told you so. Because so what? Yes, you knew about it. That's not going to help them. But the sad thing is that we should learn from the mistakes of others. We cannot make the same mistake over and over and say, okay, I need to take my own time and make my own mistakes. Yes, you can, but you have to pay the same price that others paid. Yes, you can. You can waste your 20 years of youth. This is your life, no doubt. Nobody will argue with you. But the sadness is that this was avoidable. Somebody else did not warn them, you were warned. That's a big difference. Let's say you're going in one road and there is a pit hole, right? And one car falls in, they get, a flat tire. And somebody goes and out of their kindness of their heart, a good Samaritan goes further and said, okay, stop. There's a pit hole, there's an issue here, slow down. The first person will not be as much to be blamed, right? Why? They didn't know. They fell into it. But the second one and the third one and the fourth one will be blamed. We told you he's coming. So yes, someone make a decision, they didn't know better. But I'm telling you, there are mistakes that are being repeated by all of us. And many decisions, including big decisions in our lives. And we get to it later on. One regret is that people waste their youth with being distracting to do meaningless jobs, not developing their careers, and they regret it later in their lives. This is one very common mistake. Second one is that they don't examine properly to make a good decision for starting a family. Again, they end up separation and they postpone starting a good family to later on. So we should learn. But Prophet said, if you want to know you develop patience or not, that helps you with thinking, there are 3 identifiers. Alamatul sabir fi thalas. These are the alama, these are the signs, these are the identifier of somebody who developed patience. As a result of that, what would be? The result of somebody who's patient will think clearly. If I think slow, if I think long term, if I think with patience, I will think clearly. The first one, أولها ألا يكسل. The first identifier of someone who's patient is that you don't see them with kisala. Kisala means to be lazy or unmotivated. Idle. Someone who's patient is not idle. Opposite of many people may think, oh, you're patient means you're just sitting doing nothing. That is waiting. That is not sabr. Sabr means you go every day to school, every day to your job. You don't give up. And because you don't get rich overnight, you don't lose hope and you don't lose motivation. So, if you're able to create habits that you do over and over without losing motivation, that is a sign of sabr. And la yaksal. So the one who's patient is not idle, is not lazy. They do the work, but they don't expect quick result. Number 2, Prophet said, وَالثَّانِيَ أَلَّا يَضْجَرْ. The second one is that they don't get easily frustrated. Someone who's patient, they don't lose control right away. They're patient. Yadjar, the word vajr, is that when somebody, they think that the entire world collapsed on them. So I feel my chest is tight, I feel frustrated. The one who is patient, they master this. They don't get easily frustrated. They don't. You cannot push their buttons easily. Some people, you can push their button easily because they don't have patience. They didn't cultivate sabr. If one small comment ruins my entire night and week, I did not cultivate sabr. Right? That is what sabr is about. That's when we actually developed it. This is a good identifier. Am I sabr or not? This is the one. We don't get easily frustrated. And the third and the final one, وَالثَّالِثَ أَلَّا يَشْكُو مِنْ رَبِّهِ تَعَالَى. And the third one is that the one who's truly patient, they don't complain, to a sense that they don't blame Allah for their troubles. They do not complain to Allah. Means they understand that everything has its own timeline. They don't say, "Ya Allah, why you did this to me? You should have made me rich right away. I should have found the right wife and right husband right away." This comes from lack of sabr and patience. The one who cultivates patience understands that Allah has the knowledge and has the timing. He knows the right time, right place, as long as you do your part. You do your part, leave the rest to Allah. That's what the prophets of God did. Nuh did his part, Allah did his part. So you build the ark, I'll bring the water. Let everybody make fun of you. You build the ark. Allah didn't say, "No, you sit down, wait for the person." He said, "Build the ark." That's your part. So in our lives, we have to build our own arks. Whatever my life and the ark of my life is, Allah will bring the water. Allah will move it. And then Prophet gave a good description. Said, لأنه إذا كسل فقد ضيع الحق. Prophet said, because indeed the one who is lazy and idle, they will waste the truth. They will destroy the truth. Because they're lazy, they don't fulfill the rights of the truth. وإذا ضجر لم يؤد الشكر. The reason, if the one who is frustrated, they will not be grateful. They only see the half empty of everything. وَإِذَا شَكَ مِنْ رَبِّي عَزَّ وَجَلَّ فَقَدْ أَثَابَ. Because the one who complains to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are disobeying Him. They turn against Him. They're not aware of that everything they have is from Him. So to complain to Him for something you have is like when somebody will give you a free car and you complain to them why it doesn't have floor mats. Where's the floor mats? We have everything from Him. What is minded to complain to you? That was the munajat of Imam Sajjad tonight. What are we going to complain about? Because everything I have is not mine. And the more we understand it, the less the stress will be. Because the more we think everything is mine, I'll be disturbed, I'll be hurt, I'll be disappointed. Because, oh, somebody took away what was mine. I lost what was mine. This mine and this ownership, it makes life more difficult. It doesn't make it more pleasant. But once you understand everything, هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي. As Sulaiman said, everything I have is blessing of Allah, is not mine. I will not be greedy, I will not be stingy. Because to begin with, I know the true owner, Maliki Yawmiddin. Who is the Malik? He is. He is. So, in summary, inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq of thinking clearly, which is with patience, is to slow down, is not to rush in making big decisions, and to pay attention to the long-term goals. Pay attention and give priorities to what is going to have great consequences. Because whatever is trivial, whatever is that's mundane, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes we spend too much time. Should I buy this watch or that watch? And I spend a lot of time thinking. Should I go with this pants color or that pants color? Eventually you need to make a decision. But when it comes to our career, our time, our youth, our marriage, our future, our faith, these are actually decisions and moments that we need to reflect on. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq of making decisions who lead us towards success, lead us toward tawfiq, and having opportunities that get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which ultimate success comes from being closer to the one who created us. For the honor of the Prophet, for the honor of the Ahlul Bayt, for the honor of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the one we just learned a hadith from him and from his brother Prophet, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Next week, remember, inshallah, we're celebrating Eid al-Ghadir on Friday night. So please talk to Hajj Farzad and talk to sisters to sponsor whatever you want to bring so we know ahead of time. So inshallah, we're looking to have festivities. Of course, we have Eid al-Adha and as well as Eid al-Ghadir. We're combining these two celebrations anyway. So for next Friday night, inshallah, make sure we need sponsors for cake and maybe inshallah even gifts for children so we can make it inshallah memorable nights for our children. So if you want to sponsor, please talk to us and we will look up inshallah to your collaboration. We want inshallah you to have a part in this, to share inshallah part of this joyous moment inshallah. Let's everybody stand up. We finish with the ziyarah. وَعَجِّلِ اللَّهُمَّ فِي فَرْجِ مَوْلَانَا صَاحِبَ الْعَصْرِ وَالزَّمَانِ. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سيدي شبابي أهل الجنة أجمعين. السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين. السلام على محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام على موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام على علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام على علي بن محمد الهادي النقي. السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ولشفاء مرضانا رحم الله لمن قرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. We already emailed this, but just in case if you didn't receive it, if you signed up for Quran class and for Farsi class, classes will start on July 6th, which will be Thursday. So inshallah, if you signed up for the Quran and Farsi class, on Thursday, July 6th, we will start. Inshallah, you heard what I said. Inshallah.